Your little Mac M3 CPU is sweet. It can't beat my Snapdragon X Elite. iPhone stuck on same design for years. Nothing but the OnePlus Pixel have you crying tears. You got that iPhone 15, I got that phone to nothing. Think you're cool with iOS 18. Android had those features back in 2018. Your little Mac M3 CPU is sweet. It can't beat my Snapdragon X Elite. iPhone stuck on same design for years. Nothing but the OnePlus Pixel have you crying tears. M3 CPU is sweet. It can't beat my Snapdragon X Elite. iPhone stuck on same design for years. Nothing but the OnePlus Pixel have you crying tears. You got that iPhone 15, I got that phone to nothing. Think you're cool with iOS 18. Android had those features back in 2018. Your little Mac M3 CPU is sweet. It can't beat my Snapdragon X Elite. iPhone stuck on same design for years. Nothing but the OnePlus Pixel have you crying tears. M3 CPU is sweet. It can't beat my Snapdragon X Elite. iPhone stuck on same design for years. Nothing but the OnePlus Pixel have you crying tears. You got that iPhone 15, I got that phone to nothing.
Welcome back, eSIM Studios Podcast Livestream, episode number 169. Coming to you on this Saturday afternoon, August the 3rd, 2024. As we get stuff rolling on here, let me, hang on one second so my computer doesn't crash. Let me close out a couple. StreamYard is tripping when I use a certain program, and it's on right now. So I'm going to try to end this task real quick before StreamYard ends it for me prematurely. Hang on one second and we'll get it started. Very interesting. Look, there's a lot of news in the headlines, right? There's a lot of interesting stuff going on. Now, as you know, the Pixel lineup is set to be launched. I think we're good. The Pixel lineup is set to launch August the 13th. So we're getting 10 days away. It's pretty quick. And as we get closer, stuff's leaked all the time. We basically know already what's going to be coming out. But I want to discuss, is it worth upgrading? Because as we peek into what they have to offer, is it worth it? Essentially, is it worth it? Is it worth upgrading? Now, these aren't cheap. The Pixel Fold, roughly $2,000, 2 racks. Is it worth it? No stylist, right? There's no special firmware like Samsung Fold 6 where you can it's got special multitasking features. Now I know you can do split screen and stuff like that, but Samsung, OnePlus, Xiaomi, way advanced in the software side in these foldables. Is it worth it? We'll get into it. And then I have some iPhone news here. We're going to do a quick podcast. I do have some other obligations on my Chiefs Studios YouTube channel as well. But look, I got to this theory maybe, or I was thinking of it or realized it roughly maybe about a month ago, right? I think Google had this grandiose plan to not only release the new style, right? Like the new body style, the new design language that's drastically different, that has the flat sides all the way around. I personally believe that they were planning on releasing the new body style with their new Tensor G5, the Google Tensor built from the ground up, aside from Exynos. Remember, this is the last group. The Pixel 9 is the last Pixel paired with Samsung Exynos. It will not be Exynos based on the Pixel 10 next year. I personally believe Google was planning on releasing this new body style that we're going to get with their new Tensor G5 chip next year, meaning if those plans were set in stone and put in place, you would get a new body style and a new CPU. It was this grand opening, this huge launch of this is the new Pixel moving forward. So why did they take next year's Pixel 10 body design and put it on this year's Pixel 9 series? Because I think Google worried about sales this year. I think they had to bring forward something new just to entice people to buy. The specs for this new Tensor chip that comes out is very underwhelming. The main thing it's getting a bump in internally, minus the design, is the RAM. So they're getting a much bigger bump in RAM this year. And the base Pixel 9 is getting 12, and then everything else is getting 16. The Pro XL, the Pixel Fold 2, all getting 16 gigs. The base model is getting 12, which helps with the AI capabilities. But you're roughly seeing, because here's the deal. You're seeing they claim, I believe they haven't claimed anything, but the leaks say this new Tensor G4 chip, very, very small incremental increase in performance. You're going to see basically a 10% performance increase over this year's current G3 Tensor. Now, similar, Nothing just put out a Nothing Phone 2A Plus. It looks almost identical to the Nothing Phone 2A, just has a upgraded processor. However, Nothing claims a 10% performance boost. However, when tested in the real world, there was only a 3% increase in performance. I was dead set on grabbing one, but after seeing it's basically the same phone, and with that little performance increase, I'm not going to get the Plus. I mean, unless Nothing sends me one, I'm not going to go out and buy one. There's no use. There's no point. I already have the phone. Now, you translate that to Google, basically the same thing. So I think that's why they brought the Pixel 10 body to the Pixel 9 series. And I think they're really, really worried about sales. You see the numbers slip slightly. More people are moving to iPhone now than ever. We covered that last week. The highest percentage of people ever this last year moved to iPhone from Android. And there's so many good options out there. The competition is loaded against Pixel. Now, the one thing they can basically rest their hat on and claim they are the best in the industry is photos. However, maybe not for long. So we'll have to see. Google's putting in brand new camera hardware in this Pixel 9 series. We'll have to see what it can do. But there's nothing phone. Oh, excuse me. This OnePlus 12, phenomenal photos. I mean, just absolutely phenomenal photos. Just as good. It's better than the S23 Ultra. I mean, I think it's the best camera phone on the market. So Google stacked up against stiff competition, and you can get a spec'd out OnePlus 12. I'm pointing down to the ground because it's on the ground. Hang on. You can get a spec'd out OnePlus 12. 24 gigs of RAM. Snapdragon 8 Gen 3. Best cameras on the market. Beautiful AMOLED display. Brand new for like $700. Now, Google, their Pixel 9 Pro XL, which would be this competitor, that's going to sell for roughly $1,100. So why would you spend $400 more getting a Pixel when you can get this? Now, yes, Pixel does have the newest version of Android, but they've actually, OnePlus has increased their update schedule, and that's one thing. I guess two things they can hang their hat on is the update schedule, but Samsung sometimes beats Pixel to the punch in the monthly updates. The S24 Plus, phenomenal device. Some would say better than the Pixel. However, I do think the Pixel beats the S24 Plus in camera quality as far as photos go. But Samsung just released the Flip, fun phone to use. Xiaomi coming out with some cool stuff. The Nothing Phone 3 should be badass. So they're up against it. I think the CPU is going to catch a lot of crap, basically, here. Once it comes out, I don't know if they're going to do a benchmark embargo. Remember, they prevented anybody from doing benchmarks. They actually prevented downloading and installing any benchmark application on that Pixel 8 series when it first came out. They might do the same with this one, quite honestly. It's just not a good look. They need to get their act together when it comes to the CPU. If they have another lackluster, I don't expect the sales to be strong this year. I just don't. Now, if depending on next year, if they have a bad sales year this year, meaning number of units sold, I believe they absolutely have to hit on the Pixel 10. If they don't hit on the Pixel 10, meaning it's a just smash hit, everything on the launch is good, CPU is phenomenal, it's right up there with the best of the best, cameras are badass, everything is badass, I think they can turn this around. But they're on the downswing right now. Make no mistake about it. There's a lot of people online saying they're not going to upgrade. They're just going to wait through the Pixel 9 series and go to the Pixel 10. And I believe, it's just my belief, that they put the Pixel 10 body on the Pixel 9. Give me 1 second. I gotta do this real quick. I got two here. This black one, she won't shut up. She meows all day, every day. And the other one, she's like a dog. She has a personality of a dog. She'll be your best friend. Happy Saturday to you too. Thank you very much. Let's see here. So we'll wait and see. Look, we're gonna get the Pixel. I think Pixel 9 Pro. I think we're going to get the Pixel 9 Pro. So we're going to test it. We're going to find out. We're going to do benchmarks. We're going to compare them against the Nothing Phone 2 that I have that you could buy for like $400 or $500. Right now, it has a 2-year-old processor, beats performance-wise, meaning on the benchmark testing, a 2-year-old CPU beats the best CPU Google has right now. It's not a good look. So we're going to test this new Pixel 9 Pro when we get it in versus all the devices I have and see where it stacks up. Because I have MediaTek CPUs, I have Snapdragon CPUs, and I have basically multiple generations of Snapdragon and then also MediaTek as well. So we're going to put it to the test. And then we'll see, right? We'll have a launch party as we always do every year. We still support Google, we still support Pixel, but I pride this channel on being honest, and I'm just being honest right now. Google's back is up against it because iPhone. Look, they're not bringing forward this brand new. They will soon. Brand new design, a smash hit here this next year. So Google's going to have very, very stiff competition here. Very soon. Now, speaking of iPhone, let's get into that. Hang on, let me let this little one out of here real quick. All right, yeah, give me just a second, okay? Hang on. Whew, okay. I apologize about that. I'll have to edit that out of the podcast. The podcast is doing phenomenal. We're at are we still at number 13 in tech podcasts? Let's see. FeedSpot. We have a large following, believe it or not. We have a large following in Southeast Asia. Somebody messaged me. I was asking somebody from India that said that they listen to the podcast. I was kind of letting them know our numbers, and he was like, "Do you know why that is?" And I was like, "I have no idea why I'm popular over there." And he said, "Because people that are learning English, it's easier for them to learn if they watch subjects in English that they like, right? So instead of just sitting there bored in class, like when I had to go to Spanish class in high school and stuff, you have no interest in it. But if it's something you like people that like technology, listen to the podcast over there. They can learn English at the same time, right?" So I was like, oh, that makes sense. But let's see where we're at. Let's see where we are at. We jumped up to number 11. What do you know? Check this out. Number 11. The tech. What does it say? So we're in the 11th spot. eSIM Studios podcast or RSS feed, whatever. That's our podcast feed. Top 60 mobile tech RSS feeds, meaning, okay, so an RSS feed is like the source of your podcast. So I create a podcast and it gets uploaded to I upload it to my RSS feed. And that feed links up to Spotify, links up to Apple Podcasts, links up to Amazon Music, links up to iHeartRadio Music app. So whoever listens on Spotify, whoever listens on Apple Podcasts, whoever listens to on each platform gets totaled up into one final number, and that one final number goes back to the RSS feed. So that's how they calculate the totals, right? So, damn. So we jumped up to number 11, sweet, on the top 60 tech podcasts in the world, shall I say. Cool. Well, thank you to you. So, anyways, let's go into this real quick. I want to show y'all. It's going to be a quick podcast. I do have obligations on my other YouTube channel. So I had a couple of stories, and check this out. So Apple will offer a much improved selfie camera on the iPhone 17. My other cat's trying to get up here. Man. They always bother me right when I hit live. So when I'm doing my other work online, my online business, they're knocked out all day. As soon as I hit live, they want to join in on the show. Lord have mercy. All right, so check this out. Apple, so we got word. Okay, so brief shakedown of what Apple's doing. So, yeah, I know they know when to interact and when to inject themselves into your life, right? When it's important, when it's on their time. So check this out. So Apple CEO Tim Cook. So Apple, they basically released the same phone for 5 or 6 years, right? And that's kind of the persona of their CEO Tim Cook. He's an older guy, real reserved. Well, he's about to retire now. A younger, more enthusiastic CEO is going to take his spot. And what do you know? Soon, here next year or two. And that's when you're going to see a lot of changes here with Apple. Apple's going to start releasing new iPhones, new looks. They're going to introduce 2 flip phones. They're going to introduce an under the display selfie camera, so the dynamic island's going to go away here. You're going to see a lot of different changes, and that's a good thing. You can't stay on one phone for 10 years, right? So we did get info on this new selfie camera. iPhone 17. So not this one that's coming out in September. Not this iPhone. It'll be next year's iPhone. It's going to be much, much improved. So see, here's a good example it goes back to people possibly skipping the Pixel 9 series. There's going to be a lot of people skipping this iPhone 16 series because they're releasing the same phone. Next year is when it gets interesting. Next year is when this new selfie camera is introduced. Next year is when the iPhone Slim is going to be introduced, where it's literally a few millimeters thick. It's going to be insane. This new selfie camera, if you look at the camera from the side, if you take the camera out from underneath the display and look at it, this new selfie camera is very, very thin, and I believe that's why they're going to introduce this one into the slim model and the rest of the models. It drastically increases the photo quality. So it's a 24 megapixel sensor. It's going to drastically upgrade the front facing selfie shots, right? Let's see, low light. What is it? Drastically low light images. It introduces pixel binding. Now we're not going to get into that. It's a long explanation. I'm not trying to waste my time. We can discuss it later or when this comes out. But it introduces pixel binding. Basically, takes a bunch of pixels and shoves them down into a few pixels, and you can drastically increase photo quality if your sensor and or your developers know how to basically use it, right? They're also going to use, excuse me, currently they have a 12 megapixel sensor on the iPhone 15 series. In the iPhone 16 series should see a 12 megapixel sensor, the ones that come out here in about a month or two. And next year is when you're going to see this 24 megapixel. Now, let's see. Oh yes, there was something else. Let me go to our site. If you Google eSIM Studios app and you go here, there's a new version of Gcam. So I'm going to install this. Just came out. I'm going to install this on my devices and start testing them. So Gcam, if you're unaware, is a third-party camera app for Android only. However, it's essentially the Pixel. Pixel is widely known as the Pixel phone, as producing the very best photos. So developers essentially took the camera app off of the Pixel and made it its own little installable app that you can install on any Android phone. And it does take good, in some cases, better photos than the stock camera app on whatever phone you have. So I'm going to install this Gcam 9.2 version 19 on the Nothing phones. I'm going to install it on the Samsung devices as well and compare shots versus the Gcam photos and stock photos, and then not only photos but do video as well. So if you're and we'll discuss this more. I'm going to produce a comparison video comparing the photos to see, really test, is this Gcam 9.2 version 19, is it better? Does it take better quality? What's the differences in the photos, video? We're going to do all that. So I'm actually going to get busy and start installing these on my devices. But if you want to get a head start, you can whoops, I got to modify this, but I'll do that right now. Here are the downloads right here for y'all. So if you're interested in that, please go download that, and I will see y'all tomorrow. I'm going to make these a little shorter, so thank you, Zyrax, for showing up. I do appreciate it. Yeah, so we'll see you tomorrow. Cats. What would I tell you? Peace.